Hello, this is a video about adding group connections to your visit tracker. So the first thing we're going to do is log into our visit tracker, and to add group connections, we will need to do that through the calendar tab. So up across the top, we're going to click on the calendar tab. That will open up the calendar for us. And you'll see we already have actually a couple group connections listed here. But let's go ahead and add one for the month of May. So let's say we're going to do one on May 1st, and we're going to click on the number, click on the date. That's going to add or open that contact page for that date. You'll see currently we have no contacts scheduled. So up here in the upper right-hand corner, we are going to click and add new, and you'll see a couple different options. There are videos on all of those other connection or contact types, but for now we're just going to do a group contact. And so once you click on add contact, then you will see the add group contact page open. And the first thing we have to do is select the contact type. So we have three different options. You have a group connection, playgroup, and event. If you are a PAT program, only group connections will count towards your affiliate performance report. So a group connection is really an event that you are providing educational materials to the families, providing maybe an activity, all of those things that are outlined within the PAT curriculum. A playgroup might be an informal setting, something where you just want to get maybe a couple moms together and have their kids play. So maybe like story time at the library or little playtime at the park, something like that. And then an event could be something much bigger. Maybe it's a resource fair where you have lots of different vendors and you're just opening that up to all of your families to come if they'd like to. So those are kind of the difference of those contact types. So for now, we're going to go ahead and do a group connection. We already have our date selected because that was opened on the calendar. If you have an alternative date, you can go ahead and put that in. The start time, so we can use the calendar or the clock icon to go ahead and set the time. And you will see our duration is defaulted to 60 minutes. That is actually under the setup for the administrator to put in that default time. So we have 60 minutes as our default, but we can go ahead and change that. Maybe this is going to be an hour and a half. So we're going to say that this is going to go until 6:30, and then you'll see the duration will automatically change to 90 minutes. So, and if you also noticed, I did just type in the time, so you can either type or you can use this little clock icon. It's up to you. Is this a public group? So if this is checked, that means this group connection is going to show up on everyone's calendar. So all of the home visitors and administrators within your program will see this group connection on their calendar as well. If it is not, maybe it's something that you're just kind of doing for your own families, you can uncheck that and then it will only show on your calendar. But most cases, if you're doing some kind of group or event, you do want that to show on everyone's calendar. So we'll go ahead and put in the title of the event, the location, maybe it's going to be at the library. If you have the contact info, maybe a person and a phone number, you can put that in. Is there a presenter and the presenter's information? What is the format of this group? So you can go ahead and select whatever the format's going to be. How many families we're expecting? What is the target age? Is it maybe just over 3? Is it under 3? Is it just a prenatal group? Or you can say select all if it's open to all of your families. And then home visitors. So this would grant full access to edit the event if you select any of these home visitors. If they are not selected, they will still see the group and they're able to add their attendance to the group, but they just can't make any changes. They can't access the group connection plan or the group connection record. So if you do want somebody to have additional access, you can go ahead and select them. Notes, and then your recurring events. So most of the time this should be no. If you select yes, it would be maybe if you had a 5-day training and it was going to be Monday through Friday, then you could do that. We're going to repeat this for the next 5 days. Otherwise, you probably want to keep this as no. So I would just leave that no. And then you have a couple different options at the bottom. You can create and just close it. Or if we want to move on to the group connection plan, we can go ahead and say continue to the plan. And then you'll see right away that group connections plan will open for you. And so just go through, you can follow the instructions to fill this out. So, how are you advertising? Are there incentives? Are there refreshments? Yes or no? And what kind of refreshments? What is your area of emphasis? So you can go ahead and select that. And then fill in all of these text boxes as you know them. Are there any volunteers in the group? If so, how many and who are those volunteers? So once we've filled out all of this information, you can then just say create and close. So that has now added this group connection to our calendar. So if we go to the month of May, we will see that group connection now listed. So if once the group has happened, so let's pretend we're now on Thursday the 2nd, the group was last night, we need to go in and fill in our group connections record, and we need to fill out attendance. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. It will bring up the date. We have our group connection listed here, and you will see a couple icons over here. This little people person icon is how we add attendance. If we needed to make a change to the contact or the plan, we would click the edit button. And then if it was entered by mistake, we can always delete. So for now, we're going to go ahead and go in and add attendance. So you will see the alphabet pop up for you, and you can either click that the entire family attended, so the guardian and all the children, or maybe just the guardian and one baby showed up. And then we can, move on, and then we can go to the next one and the next one. So you can just go ahead and pick all your attendance, whoever attended your group. You want to make sure it gets entered. And then we want to go ahead and save that. And then after the attendance has been entered, we can move on to the group connections plan, or record, I'm sorry. So we'll click on the record, and then you'll see here we have our record. And based on the attendance we just entered, it'll tell us how many families, how many enrolled guardians, if any male guardians attended, and how many enrolled children. So you will see as, the attendance gets entered, that number could change. And then you may have, families that attended that maybe aren't enrolled in your program, and you want to reflect that as well. So you can do that here under the total physically present, and then again, how many fathers. So maybe we have 0 male guardians that were under our attendance, but maybe a dad showed up that's not in our program. So we could go ahead and put him there as well. And then you'll see some of this auto-populated from our plan. So that information comes from the plan. And again, you can just kind of check, was it a parent-child activity? Was it parents only? And then how many minutes did you spend on each of these topics? So you would fill that in. What were your actual expenses, if there was a budget shortfall? So all of this information that comes out of the PAT curriculum, you can just go ahead and get that filled out. And then you'll see at the very bottom, any guardians and children that were checked are now listed at the bottom under the attendance list. So we'll go ahead and we're going to save our record, and now we can either print this, we can put it in the file, and go from there. So let's go ahead and close that, and then we're going to close this as well. So now you will see if we go back to our Guardian, and I think we said Cotton Candy attended this group. If we go to the if we go to the Candy family and we go to contacts, you will see that group connection is listed in their contact history. So that's how we show that this family attended the group, is by adding the attendance to the group through the calendar. So that's how that gets added. Also, from the calendar, if you'd like to see a list of your group connections, over here on the left, if you click on the group connections, and then it will say, please select a date range. So we're going to go just, maybe we'll go for this full year from the 9th to the 9th, and let's say display. And then it's going to show us all of our group connections for the past year. You will see over here you can access the plan for that group connection. You can access the attendance for the group, so you can kind of look through and see if maybe somebody got missed. You can go ahead and add them this way really quickly. And then you can add the record. So that group connection record that shows up, you'll be able to get that added. And then there is a print option. So if you wanted to print the plan and the record, you could do that through that group connection link. And I'm going to go ahead and close that because I don't think I have my printer connected. And then, of course, there's a delete button. So that is how you would show your group connections for the last year. We also have a group connections report under the reports tab. And then over here, you'll see group connections, and you can go ahead and run the report for your group connections as well that way. And this will just basically give you a list of all of your groups, how many families, the fathers that were present, which topics you covered in those groups. So that is what the group connection report will look like. And then, of course, your group connections with attendance of a PAT family, those will show on your affiliate performance report as well. So that is all we have to talk about with group connections. Thanks for listening.